good. There we go. All is well. Okay.
Sorry, all this mess. Hola, perdón el retraso, buenas tardes, son las 12:20 casi de la mañana, aquí en México, en la Ciudad de México. Estamos con muchos problemas de esta tecnología que ya nos tiene locos, pero bueno, finalmente llegamos al espacio de la Asociación Mexicana de Yoga Iyengar y proyectateradio.com. Y bueno, para no perder más el tiempo, tenemos como invitada a una gran mujer, a una maestra senior del método Iyengar. Ella es artista, ilustradora, diseñadora, animadora de que hizo animaciones para una película, autora de 3 libros, 2 libros para yoga para la mujer y un libro para niños. Y bueno, para no retrasar más esta entrevista, tenemos con nosotros a Bobby Clennell. Hello, Bobby.
Hi, hello.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
Y también tenemos a Alex Hidalgo, que nos va a ayudar con la traducción. So there's Alex, Bobby. He's going to help us with translating you.
Okay, thanks.
Hola, Alex.
Gracias. Hola, buenos días, gracias.
Buenos días a los dos. So, Bobby, I was just introducing you and just reading your bio. Well, to start with this interview, I want to ask you, I'm going to ask first in Spanish and then in English, okay? So, la primera pregunta es, Bobby cuenta en su biografía que la primera vez que asiste a una clase de yoga Iyengar, ella desarrolla más confianza en sí misma. Mi pregunta para Bobby es, ¿cómo supiste que este camino del yoga iba a ser tan trascendental en tu vida? So the question, Bobby, is you mentioned in your bio that when you attend for the first time in your life to a yoga session, to a yoga class, you develop more confidence in yourself and a sense of inner strength. So the question is, how did you know that this path of yoga was going to be transcendental in your life? Like, what made it so clear?
You mean before I started it? You mean I knew that it would help even before? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
¿Te refieres a que yo sabía que me iba a ayudar incluso antes de que empezara? ¿A eso te refieres?
Sí, o sea, la primera vez que ella tomó una clase de yoga, sintió que la ayudó en una parte más allá de lo físico. So the first time that you went into a yoga class in 1973.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
yeah.
What you say in your bio is that you felt something beyond your body, right? And so
yes.
So the question is, why? How did you know that yoga would be transcendental in your life? ¿Cómo sabías que el yoga iba a ser trascendental en tu vida?
I don't. It's hard to explain an inner feeling like that.
Es muy difícil explicar una sensación.
I was already sort of on board with the idea that there was a lot of wisdom coming out of the East.
Yo ya tenía
I already believed that.
De que había mucha sabiduría viniendo del Oriente, era algo que yo ya creía.
Because in those days, people were discovering India and discovering gurus. It was in the air, so it was natural that I would look in that direction. It's very hard to explain, but I had an immediate sense of empowerment. That I had a tool, that this was a tool.
Es difícil de explicar porque en esos días la gente estaba empezando a conocer sobre India y sobre los gurús, entonces fue natural para mí el mirar hacia ese lado. Y es difícil explicar lo que sucedió.
Thank you. Gracias, Alex. Ajá. So, because you felt it right away, ¿no? Lo sentiste en ese momento, ¿no?
I felt it right away. It was a feeling of that it wasn't really mystical. I'm a very practical person. I was a very practical young woman. I just knew that I had a means with which to take charge of my life.
Y yo lo sentí de inmediato, y no fue nada para mí algo místico, porque yo era una mujer muy práctica cuando era joven, simplemente sentía que eso era algo de lo que yo tenía que hacer en mi vida.
Entonces, justo la siguiente pregunta tiene que ver con Bobby yendo tantas veces a India. Yo conocí a Bobby exactamente en Pune porque teníamos el departamento ella arriba y yo abajo. Y mi siguiente pregunta para Bobby, que además de que escribió la guía de Pune, donde nos explica dónde ir, a dónde ir a comer, en qué restaurante, en dónde hospedarnos y todo esto, además de tener esta guía, ella va cada año a Pune, al instituto. So I'm telling them how you go every year. You go very often to Pune, to India. And so the question, Bobby, is, la pregunta para Bobby es, para ella, ¿qué significa India? ¿Por qué tuvo esta conexión con India tan grande y qué la hace volver una y otra vez a Pune? So the question is, how come you go every year to Pune? And what is the significance of India for Bobby Clennell?
India's mother, you know. I have, well, I didn't know this when in 1973, I didn't really understand, but my family, my father was born in India, and I have actually a lot of ancestral roots, which I've only just discovered, you know, in recent years.
¿Sabes? India es como la madre, India es como una madre. Y en 1973 yo no entendía eso, pero de hecho mi padre nació en India y he descubierto recientemente que muchos de mis ancestros son de la India.
So even though I didn't understand that at the time, I was just always attracted. My grandmother, not the one that has India links, but the other grandmother, had books. She had a book in her house with drawings. Drawings always attract me anyway, you know. And these were drawings of India, and I was very curious about that when I was a little girl. I mean, all roads are just leading to India, you know.
Wow.
Pero era algo que me sentía atraída. Mi abuela, la que no tiene conexiones con India, tenía muchos libros con dibujos de la India. Y a mí siempre me atrayeron los dibujos de cualquier manera. Entonces siempre hubo una atracción hacia ese lugar.
Right. Are you missing very much? ¿Te extrañas muchísimo ir a Pune? Are you missing very much going to Pune?
Very much. I would be there now. I used to be there.
Lo extraño mucho. De hecho, estaría ahí ahorita. Estoy ahí cada febrero.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Okay, so hablando de los dibujos de Bobby, Bobby es una gran ilustradora y los 3 libros que Bobby tiene, que ahorita vamos a hablar de ellos, ella ha ilustrado esos libros. Pero además de tener esos libros, tiene un cortometraje que se llama Yantra, the short film, Yantra, right, Bobby?
Oh yeah, Yantra, yes. Mm.
Yeah, we love it.
Sí, Yantra.
Can you talk a little bit about Yantra? ¿Puedes hablarnos un poquito de Yantra? What does Yantra mean? ¿Qué significa Yantra? Where can we see it? ¿Dónde la podemos ver?
You can see it on my website. bobbyclennell.com.
Lo pueden ver en mi sitio web, bobbyclennell.com.
You know, when talking about India and what was and what is it that draws me to India? I mean, it's Mr. Iyengar,
Right.
really.
Estábamos hablando de India y de lo que me atrajo a India, y eso fue el señor Iyengar.
And Yantra is a devotional film. You know,
oh, sorry. Yeah. Yantra is a devotional film. ¿Lo puedes repetir, Alex?
Yantra es un filme, una película devocional.
You see, I mean, there's a lot of devotional art, especially in India, but it comes out of all cultures, you know, where that particular country draws pictures of its deities. That's devotional art. Well, this was a devotional animated film, maybe the first one ever, maybe the only one.
Hay mucho arte devocional, especialmente en India, que tiene muchísimas ilustraciones acerca de sus deidades. Entonces, Yantra es un film acerca de la devoción.
Que tal vez es la primera que existe de animación con sentido de devoción, ¿no? Ajá, porque en Yantra, si se meten a bobbyclennell.com, se ve dibujos del señor Iyengar haciendo yoga, so we can see drawings of Mr. Iyengar in different postures, unos mandalas, y está musicalizada con música sagrada de la India, ¿no? There's mandalas and there's sacred music, Indian sacred music, right? And you can see, puedes ver todas estas, it's like a, ¿cómo se llama cuando ves y se ven todos los videos? What's the name of that? No me acuerdo.
Cartoon. It's yoga cartoon.
Es una caricatura de yoga.
Yeah. So, when did you do that? ¿Cuándo hiciste ese filme Yantra?
I'm very bad with remembering, but 1988, I think, is when I started it. And it was, I was in the process, my husband was working in New York, and we were really in the process of moving to America, although we didn't realize that's what we were doing. But, so I was a little bit uprooted from my life. I'd been working in an animation studio. I was an animator. I was also going to Pune, but you know. So I just and it was my center that I just kept working on the film, no matter else what was going on. Life was changing. I just centered myself, you know, and made an animated film.
Fue más o menos
about what I cared about, which is Mr. Iyengar.
Fue más o menos en 1988, no soy muy buena para recordar. En ese tiempo mi esposo estaba en Nueva York y estábamos en el proceso de mudarnos a los Estados Unidos, aunque yo no lo sabía. Yo trabajaba en un estudio de animación y para mí el trabajar en este filme fue como mi centro. Fue como lo que hacía mientras todo lo demás alrededor del mundo cambiaba. Y lo hice acerca de lo que más me interesaba, que era el señor Iyengar.
Yeah. So una pregunta del público es, ¿qué sientes cuando dibujas una postura? La pregunta es, ¿cómo te han influenciado los cientos de dibujos que has hecho de posturas en tu propia práctica? ¿Y cómo se retroalimentan tus dos pasiones, el yoga y el dibujo? La voy a decir en inglés. So there's a question from the audience, Bobby, and a friend of mine, she's a teacher, she's a yoga teacher, and a younger yoga teacher, and she asks, what do you feel when you draw a yoga posture? How has your drawing hundreds of postures influenced your own practice? how do your two passions, drawing and yoga, complement each other? Mm-hmm.
They did complement each other. I don't really own information about a pose, at least certainly then. I'm better now, but I had to draw it. I have to draw a pose. And then I start to understand it. And now I'm much more experienced, and so I can absorb information because it rests upon so much experience. But in order to stay, also I think if you remain your own authentic self, you're true to yourself. I'm half 50% artist and 50% yoga, so I have to hold the two of them together. I don't know what else to do.
Sí, se complementan. Como tal, yo no poseía mucha información de las posturas. Tengo que dibujarlas para poder entenderlas. Ahora que soy mucho más experimentada, ya tengo más información acerca de ellas. Creo que se trata de mantenerse auténtico contigo mismo, y yo me llamaría a mí misma 50% artista y 50% maestra de yoga.
Right. Bobby, so to get directly in, vamos a irnos directamente hacia los libros de Bobby. Bobby ha escrito 3 libros diferentes. Uno que se llama Yoga for Breast Care, What Every Woman Needs to Know. Yoga para el cuidado de los senos, lo que toda mujer debe saber. Watch Me Do Yoga, que Mírame hacer yoga, que es un libro para niños. Y el último, que es The Women's Yoga Book, Asana and Pranayama for All Phases of the Menstrual Cycle. El libro del yoga para la mujer, Asana y Pranayama para todas las fases del ciclo menstrual. La pregunta es que si Bobby nos puede hablar como de estas diferentes fases de la mujer y cómo el yoga nos beneficia en las diferentes fases de la mujer. So Bobby, I just mentioned the 3 books that you have illustrated and written, and the question is, can you tell us about these, in the woman's book, in the woman's yoga book, these phases and how they affect us, they affect our bodies, they affect our emotions, and what practice of yoga would be appropriate for each phase of the women's life?
Well, for sure, your practice has to change. That's for sure. That don't try and hold on to a practice which is no longer relevant to your stage of life. And I tell, I especially tell older women that their practice has to be, that their practice is not less of a practice because it may have been, you may have to modify. Don't call it, you're not modifying it. It's an intense practice, and it's your practice, and it just has to be relevant. I mean, same with pregnancy, same postpartum. That's a very, misunderstood phase of a woman's life. I don't know if this guy wants to, if I'm rambling on too much and he needs to.
Bueno, seguro, por supuesto que tu práctica tiene que cambiar. No hay que aferrarse a una práctica que ya no es relevante para el momento que estás en tu vida. Yo le digo a mujeres mayores que su práctica no vale menos o es menor porque la han tenido que modificar. Su práctica es intensa y es su práctica, pero tiene que ser una práctica relevante para ellas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You want to go on, or? Yeah, because, sí, porque, por ejemplo, a veces uno cree que porque le está poniendo props o le está poniendo silla, es una práctica menos intensa. So sometimes we think, well, not teachers, but maybe students, that if you use a prop, a block or a chair, it's a less intense practice. And can you explain that to the audience, how?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, do not give props to beginners. We don't give props to beginners.
Primero que nada, no le des aditamentos a los principiantes.
¿Lo puedes repetir, Alex?
Perdón, sí, primero que nada, no le des aditamentos, props, a los principiantes.
Props are advanced.
Los props son para personas avanzadas.
Sí, props son para personas avanzadas.
If otherwise, first of all, a beginner has to be given time to find themselves. You don't overcorrect beginners. Don't insist that they do something perfectly, and don't give them a prop.
That's a good advice.
El principiante necesita tiempo para encontrarse a sí mismo. No los sobrecorrijas, no pases demasiado tiempo corrigiéndolos y no les des aditamentos.
Okay, now, later on, when there may be times when you want to put some movement into your practice, you may want to, do something, a jumping practice, which is fine, but it's not the only. It's movement. It's the element of water, actually, jumping, and it's not to be done all the time. It's just going to be part of your practice if you want to get moving.
Más adelante, cuando quieras mover un poco más tu práctica, por ejemplo, incorporando saltos, o agregarle más movimiento, elemento agua igual a saltos. Lo puedes hacer, pero no es algo que vas a hacer de manera regular.
Sí, claro, no todo el tiempo vamos a estar.
Now, I want to say one more thing. The art of focus, being able to slow down and hold poses where you may need a prop. If you're going to hold something for 10 minutes, you're going to need a prop. Women, I don't know about men, maybe men, the art of that kind of concentration and being able to slow down in your practice doesn't happen until post-menopause.
Para mantener las posturas, por ejemplo, si vas a mantener una postura más de 10 minutos, vas a necesitar aditamentos. Y es esta capacidad que tenemos que desarrollar de concentrarse, que no sé en los hombres, pero en las mujeres parece aparecer después de la menopausia.
Es mucho tiempo después. It's long time later than we thought.
Well, menopause is is soon, 50. Right. It's nothing.
Bueno, la menopausia sucede a los 50, realmente es algo pronto, no es nada.
I'm 78.
Yo tengo 78.
Se ve preciosa, Bobby. You look amazing, Bobby.
Thank you. Well, good light there.
Es la buena iluminación.
Yeah, and de hecho, una de las otras preguntas de otra maestra de yoga que te quería hacer la pregunta es ¿por qué a la menopausia no se le da tanta importancia como a la menstruación? Es decir, por ejemplo, pregunta ella, nunca hemos escuchado a Gita o a Abby decir, por ejemplo, cualquiera que esté en menopausia o en posmenopausia haga tal o cual. Entonces, la pregunta es que si nos puede hablar un poco de la práctica durante la menopausia. La voy a decir en inglés. Okay, I'm going to say it in English. There's another question from the audience about menopause, in fact. So the question is, why is menopause not given as much importance as menstruation? That is, during classes, for example, as far as we know, as as we have heard, we have never heard Gita or Abby say, whoever is in the process of menopause, do this or do that. No, they never say that.
Well, you won't hear Abby because she.
And we're having hot flashes all over all the time.
Well, you know, Gita did talk about it a lot.
Oh, okay.
She would a lot, but not to the whole class. You'd be in the back of the room with Gita. If you were on your cycle, you'd have to go to the back. And in the early days, you were very lucky because Gita would come over and take care of us. Guruji would be teaching the main class, and then she would come and take care of us. You got all sorts of information. She would be talking about, I'd think to myself, wow, I didn't know you were allowed to talk about menopause. I'd never heard anybody talking about menopause. Is this okay in polite society? Are you allowed to even say that word, menopause? You know, it blew me away. I was just so inspired by Gita. She talked a lot. Now, Abby is young. She's, 30-something. That's not what... It doesn't concern her. She knows she has the information, but it's not her thing yet. It doesn't fire her up.
Okay,
you know,
wait.
so wait.
Bueno, Gita sí hablaba de ello bastante, pero no se lo decía a todo el mundo, se lo decía a las personas que se tenían que ir al fondo del salón debido a que estaban durante su ciclo menstrual. Y tenías mucha suerte porque Gita iba y te cuidaba a ese grupo mientras Guruji daba la clase. Y Gita daba muchísima información y yo me quedé muy impresionada al saber que se podía tocar esos temas en este tipo de sociedad. En el caso de Abhijata, ella es muy joven y tiene toda la información, pero todavía no es un tema que a ella le concierna como tal.
Yeah, I agree. Estoy totalmente de acuerdo, porque hasta que yo no tuve los bochornos, no entendía de lo que se trataba. You have to experience it. And if you don't experience this menopause or pre-menopause or post-menopause, it's like, I don't get it. It's like, what are they talking about, no?
Yeah. I mean, it's good to, it's important to learn about it. If you're a teacher, you need to learn, I mean, you may not be pregnant, but you need to know how to deal with pregnant women, you know. And the men need to learn about women's yoga because they're going to get mostly women in their classes. But women or students, if they have a choice, they'll gravitate towards someone who they relate to, you know. So if you have if you're a kid, if you're young, if you're in your 20s, you're going to gravitate towards a younger teacher. I mean, not necessarily, not absolutely, but to some degree, you're going to gravitate to someone. If you're going through menopause, you're not going to go to a teacher who's not that interested. You're going to go and find one who's got that experience, you know.
Alex, ¿puedes traducir?
Claro, es bueno y es importante aprender sobre ello, porque si eres un maestro, tienes que aprender acerca del embarazo y sobre la menopausia, incluso si eres un maestro hombre, porque la mayoría de tus alumnas serán mujeres. En todo caso, las mujeres gravitarán hacia personas con las que se identifiquen. Si estás, por ejemplo, en tu periodo de menopausia, no vas a ir a buscar a un maestro que no esté interesado en este tema. Al contrario, una persona joven gravitará hacia maestros más jóvenes.
Right. So, entonces en tu libro, en el último libro el de Women's Yoga Book, we can find that information. Ahí podemos encontrar en ese libro la información de qué posturas van en cada fase de la vida de la mujer. So in your book, we can find which yoga postures would benefit us in each phase of our life. as a woman?
No, not really. The woman's yoga book was really about menstruation.
Oh, okay.
No, realmente, este
It's
libro de yoga
about
para las mujeres es más sobre la menstruación.
it's about practicing cyclically with your cycles. I got very fascinated by it, and I was going through menopause at the time that I wrote the book about and I got very fascinated about menstruation, and I didn't know I was in menopause. I didn't really understand. There's more awareness now in the yoga community than there was then, even though Gita had, I had to dig. In order to find out about menopause, I had to dig very deep, and it didn't, anyway, that's another story. But no, that's all about menstruation, and it's really about practicing along with the monthly ups and downs. There's no books on, Iyengar books on menopause, and I'm not going to write it.
No, realmente, este libro se acerca más de practicar en ciclos durante tu ciclo. Mientras yo lo escribía, yo estaba en la menopausia y no entendía lo que estaba pasando. Ahora hay mucho más conciencia en el mundo del yoga acerca de este tema. Y entonces, retomando el libro, se trata de practicar durante las subidas y bajadas durante estos ciclos.
De la menopausia, que diga de la menstruación.
De la menstruación, sí.
Y ella dice que no hay un libro de yoga Iyengar acerca de la menopausia y ella no lo va a escribir.
Ella no lo va a escribir, así es.
Bobby, we need somebody to explain to us about this crazy time.
Yeah, people want to know. I know that people want to know. I think there may be somebody bringing one out. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It takes a long time to write a book. And that energy that I had when I wrote the first one, the women's yoga book, was that big post-menopausal, when your menopause is over, you're really going, babe. You've got a lot of energy, actually. And it's like a new life. And it was on the wings of that post-menopausal energy, really, that I pushed that book out, I don't think and also I wasn't as busy then as I am now. I wasn't teaching as much then. I'm now, flat out now.
Right.
But anyway,
yeah.
Sorry.
Bueno, si la gente quiere saber acerca de ese tema, creo que por ahí alguien puede sacar algo al respecto, pero sabes, toma tiempo escribir un libro. Cuando yo lo escribí, estaba aprovechando toda esta energía que viene con la posmenopausia, y esa energía la utilicé para poder sacar ese libro.
Bobby, porque hablando de las diferentes facetas de la vida de la mujer, por ejemplo, lo que dices tú acerca de que un joven quiere, por ejemplo, o un principiante que no tenga props y más movimiento, y conforme vas haciéndote más grande, quieres más estabilidad, más props y como una práctica más estable y saborearla más. La pregunta es si nos puedes decir, por ejemplo, qué posturas han sido ahora tus preferidas en esta etapa de tu vida, para que nosotros, alumnas que son de esta etapa, que tienen este momento en su vida, podamos ofrecerles estas posturas. So, Bobby, the question is that now that you're in this phase of your life, can you tell us which postures are your favorite? And like I feel that as we get older, we savor more the practice. It's not about jumping, it's about the nectar, ¿no? El néctar de la práctica. So can you tell us like which poses you prefer right now, which props? Like how do you do your
the poses that I base everything around is the inversions. And I always had a strong inversions practice. I learned headstand from Mr. Iyengar. I don't mean literally, but the Iyengars would do their inversions in the afternoon in Pune. It would be Mr. Iyengar, Gita, Prashant, and a few friends, their friends. And the students, we'd come in, we'd keep a respectful distance, and you do your inversions. And they weren't teaching you, but they would do theirs, and it was implicit. We could do ours, right? Well, he would be up on his head for an hour, you know. Wow. And so, but I was 30-something, 32 when I first went to Pune. And I just thought, oh, I better stay up then. If he's staying up for 45 minutes, you know, that's how I learned I didn't dare come down because you're in the room. And anyway, his energy is so huge. So my love of inversions and just having been in the same room as him, you know, I've had a strong headstand. And I had long headstand, long shoulder stand. Now, I'm not so strong now. And my headstand is now 15 minutes. And I have to come down. And I can go up again on the ropes maybe afterwards if I want. That is, thank goodness, that I have had a lifetime that I built up enough strength so that now at 78, I have the strength to stay up. And shoulder stand I can do for longer. But, okay, yeah, go on.
Pues en cuanto a las posturas, para mí serían las posturas invertidas. Yo siempre tenía una práctica de posturas invertidas bastante fuerte. Aprendí Shirshasana, no directamente de BKS Iyengar, aunque no literalmente de él. La familia Iyengar hacía estas posturas en la tarde, se agrupaban en el salón y nosotros los veíamos con una distancia respetuosa. Entonces, yo observé que el maestro Iyengar podía estar 1 hora en parado de cabeza. Yo tenía 30 años y en ese momento no me atrevía a bajar de la postura porque lo estaba viendo a él. Entonces de ahí surgió mi amor por las posturas invertidas. Ahora ya no soy tan fuerte, pero mi parado de cabeza dura alrededor de 15 minutos y es gracias a que durante toda mi vida, y ahora que tengo 78 años, estuve construyendo esa fuerza que ahora puedo utilizar en las posturas. Mi parado de hombros lo puedo mantener todavía un poco más de tiempo.
Ok, vamos a continuar, que Bobby nos siga diciendo acerca de Sarvangasana. So you were saying about shoulder stand, Sarvangasana, right?
You're saying what?
You were talking after Shirshasana, you were talking about Sarvangasana, that you can stay longer,
oh, yeah.
¿no? Puedes quedar más tiempo.
I can stay, I'm 20 minutes in Sarvangasana. But I feel that neither of them is very long. I mean, it's respectable, but I kind of think, oh, yeah, you know, because I used to stay for so much longer, I'm having to come to terms with, you know, because I think something happens around 75. Now, we're talking, you know, old age here, you know, and most of the students are not my age. They're mostly, you know, post-menopause is different. Post-menopause is a lot of energy. You're young. You're young.
I'm glad to hear that, because I might think I'm exactly in the menopause, but well, okay, sorry about that. Entonces...
Bueno, ahora en Sarvangasana yo puedo mantenerla 20 minutos, pero aún así siento que no es mucho tiempo. Me parece una cantidad de tiempo respetable, pero antes me podía quedar mucho más tiempo y es algo que he tenido que negociar. Yo ya soy una persona mayor, hay muy pocos alumnos de mi edad, y antes algo pasó alrededor de los 75, porque antes yo tenía toda esta energía que venía de la postmenopausia.
Yeah, entonces, yeah, so go on, I'm
sorry. Well, now but just to say that now I'm not post-menopause, I'm early old age. It's another phase. Post-menopause, like you're picking up you may have had to do a quieter practice during menopause because it's a disturbing time. So you have to navigate around, get through menopause. Then post-menopause, once everything's settled down, there's a little settling down that has to happen with the hormones. But now you can focus. Now you have to work hard. Now you have to get your sharpness back, physical sharpness, mental sharpness, and you have the wherewithal. You're not old at that point. You have a lot of strength.
Alex.
Yo ahorita yo ya no estoy en la posmenopausia, estoy ya entrando a la edad temprana avanzada. Digamos, en menopausia la práctica tiene que ser más tranquila por todo lo que está sucediendo durante ese ciclo. En la posmenopausia, ya que toda la cuestión hormonal está más asentada, es una etapa en la que te puedes enfocar más y trabajar más fuerte mental y físicamente.
Bobby, ¿cómo sabes que estás en post-menopausia? How do you know when you're in post-menopause? Because you know menopause, right? But how do you know you're in post-menopause?
You haven't had a period for they say, you hear people say for 1 year, no menstruation. But I would say wait a little longer to be really sure, because sometimes it could start up again. So I would say 18 months, then you're in post-menopause.
Se dice que tienes que esperar, se dice que tienes que esperar 1 año que no suceda la menstruación, pero yo diría que esperes un poco más, porque a veces puede regresar. Yo diría 18 meses y después de eso viene una nueva vida.
Bobby, any advice, algún consejo para los bochornos? Any advice for hot flashes?
It depends what helps the woman. For some women, you know, a very supported seated forward bend can really help cool you down, like a Janusasana, but with lots of support, with a bolster or even a chair, can make the head feel, because it starts in the head. So that might work. Some very supported, quiet forward extensions. But for some women, if they don't like it and it doesn't work, try reclining poses. Just quiet, let it subside. Supta Baddha Konasana, Supta Virasana. See what works.
Right.
Depende de qué le ayude a la persona. A la mujer. Para algunas mujeres, una postura de flexión al frente sentado con mucho apoyo, un bolster o incluso o silla, que la cabeza se puede apoyar porque ahí es donde comienza todo. Pero hay mujeres a las que esto no les gusta, entonces se pueden intentar posturas recostadas y que también puede ayudarles.
Right.
Add to that chair-supported halasana with the thighs supported, with on a decent lift, like on a chair, but with a bolster, or it depends how tall your spine is. Adjust. I think I've got some drawings in my book. I don't really talk about menopause, but the poses are in there. You know, the descriptions are in there.
Sí, también puede ayudar mucho un halasana con apoyo debajo de los muslos, por ejemplo, un banquito debajo de los muslos. Tengo algunos dibujos en mis libros, aunque no hablo acerca de la menopausia en estos libros.
I'm glad we're talking about menopause. No,
yeah.
Estamos hablando de la menopausia porque es como un hueco negro. It's like a dark hole. Nobody says anything about it, no?
Well, yeah, I think more and more women are talking about it. I don't know about in Mexico. I think you may be a little shyer about talking about that. But in the ladies I know in New York are all over it. They're talking about menopause all over the place.
I'm glad.
Bueno, más y más y más mujeres están hablando de ello. No sé si en México tal vez hay un poco más de timidez al respecto, pero a las mujeres a las que yo conozco ahorita están hablando muchísimo del tema.
Muy bien. Bobby, te voy a hacer otra pregunta. So we're going to change the subject 180 degrees. Cambiamos el tema 180 grados. Es una pregunta del público y dice así: Bobby, a través de tus años de experiencia, ¿consideras que el antiguo proceso de examen distorsionó de cierta forma el método de enseñanza en nuestro sistema? So the first question is, it says, it's from the audience, and it says, Bobby, through all your years of experience, do you consider that the old certification process distorted in some way the method of teaching in our system?
Is what? Ask that again. I didn't understand.
Yeah, well, the question is that because the way they assessed us before, like the old way, no, the question is if that way of doing the assessments distorted. You say what? Distort the way that we
restored.
Distort the way that we teach, because like I think that way of doing the assessments made us being very rigid. And they want to know your opinion. Quieren saber tu opinión acerca.
Oh, you liked it. You liked the old method. Yeah. Well, okay. Just know this. I've never been assessed.
Wow.
I never went into any assessments. Guruji always used to give me my certification.
Great.
So I'm not a product of the assessment process. I look at other people and who've done these levels, you know, and think, wow, I really missed out, because it looked like a good thing, because it was so systematic.
Wow.
And Guruji, you know, thought about it. He was responding to people wanting, I think it was Americans mostly at that point. He was responding. They were saying, we need something tangible that we can understand. And so I think he was responding to the students and teachers, mostly teachers, you know. I don't think he dreamt it up. He just used to teach 3-hour classes. He never used to know when to stop. You'd still be in his class in Pune. Then they want, you know, teachers would come and say, yeah, but we need it to be more, you know, understandable. And of course, with all those people now teaching yoga, you have to be very specific about what they're allowed to teach, because you've got all sorts of people out there.
Right.
So,
wait a second.
You know, what are you going to do? Yeah, and we're not so bright necessarily. We're not so bright. We need something written down that we can follow. So I think it was a good. Sorry.
¿Te refieres al modo antiguo de evaluación? Bueno, primero que nada tienes que saber que yo nunca he hecho exámenes. Yo recibía directo mis certificados de BKS y Yenga, entonces yo no soy un producto de este sistema de exámenes. Pero yo veía a otras personas que las habían hecho y decía, me perdí algo, porque pensaba que era algo muy bueno y muy metódico. Y Yengar lo que hizo fue responder a la necesidad de alumnos que querían tener algo más tangible, algo más entendible. Y con todas las personas que ahora están enseñando yoga, sí es muy bueno tener algo así para poder saber qué enseñar, porque muchas veces no somos tan brillantes como podría parecer.
Yeah, because la pregunta del público, de otra maestra de yoga, es tu visión acerca de esta nueva reforma educativa, la nueva manera de los exámenes, la mentoría, etcétera. Yeah, because the question from the audience is, what is your vision on this new educational reform, the new way of doing exams, now the mentoring, etc.? What is your opinion? That's a hard one.
You're talking to a wayward artist here. You know, I'm a hippie. You know, you know, change is going to happen. There's always going to be. It's going to evolve.
Right.
We can't be holding on to the way things used to be. You go to Pune, you come back with a piece of information, you hold it to your bosom, and then you go back next year and they say, oh no, we've changed. No, we're not doing that anymore. It's not stuck. It's evolving, and yoga's now thousands of years old, you know, and we're just on that continuum, you know. Let me quickly go and get that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sí, bueno, estás hablando con alguien que es un artista, se define como hippie. Entonces, cambio va a suceder y va a haber evolución. Entonces, es necesario no aferrarse. Por ejemplo, cuando vas a Pune, vas y te enseñan ciertas cosas y tú te aferras a ello o lo aprecias mucho y regresas el próximo año y ya lo están enseñando de otra manera. Entonces, es importante ver que estando en el yoga siempre va a haber cambio y siempre va a haber esta evolución.
Claro, es que todo cambia. Vas una vez más y lo que pensaste que era, ya te dicen completamente diferente. So you go to Pune and yeah, everything changed, no? It is evolving, it's something alive, I think. Yoga es algo vivo. No?
And, you know, I think wherever you are, however long you've been in this, whatever you're trying to get better certification or something, be grateful. Just accept what is given. Every class will give you something. Every teacher will give you something. Everyone remembers something. I would be a hopeless. Somebody asked me to be a mentor. A couple of people asked me to be mentors. I don't think I'd be very good, actually. They went away. They got bored with me. But I think whatever it is, whatever they're doing now, it's good. Do it. Do it with all your heart. And you know, if you have opinions, you can give your opinions. It's not that even this doesn't have to stay the same. It may even evolve. I mean, right now we're trying to get over a pandemic, which is like knocked everything out of the. Now we're all into an online situation, which you know, may have been a tremendous gift in many ways, and I think that's not going to go away either when we get back to, you know, in-person classes. So that's I'm sorry, I don't have a very good answer. I would just, you know, ride it, you know, accept it and be grateful for it. Yeah, you know, go with the flow.
Bueno, donde sea que estés, ya sé que quieras certificarte o no, sea agradecido, acepta lo que se te da. Cada clase y cada maestro te darán algo. Yo estaría perdida si me pidieran que fuera una mentora, no creo que fuera buena. Ya me lo pidieron un par de personas y se fueron, creo que se aburrieron de mí. Entonces, lo que sea que hagas, hazlo de corazón. Y si quieres opinar, puedes dar tu opinión, porque esto también está evolucionando. Ahorita, por ejemplo, estamos en medio de una pandemia que nos está moviendo todo y estamos trabajando en línea. Y esto puede que sea un regalo en muchos sentidos, que no se irá incluso cuando regresemos. No tengo una respuesta muy buena al respecto, solamente eso. Sea agradecido y lo que hagas, hazlo con el corazón y fluye.
I've lost you.
Yes, we lost Tessie. Just a moment.
Oh, we lost
Just a
Tessie,
moment.
okay.
Yes.
We did pretty good, though. We had a long interview.
Pídele
Yes.
que continúe con la plática, por favor.
Perdón.
Pídele que continúe ella con la plática.
Bobby, you can keep going with what you were saying.
Oh, okay. Oh, hello. Can you see me? Because I can't see you now.
Well, my
Hello?
camera is turned off, but we can see you.
Okay. Well, I don't have a lot to say about the certification process. I don't get terribly involved in it, actually. But I'm trying to think of something else I can say that that a student might ask. Tessie, she's come back.
Ya regresaste, Tessie. No tengo mucho que decir sobre el proceso de certificación. No es algo en lo que esté involucrada. Pero voy a pensar qué puedo decir. Tal vez ahorita hay algunas preguntas.
Hola.
Ya
Hello.
regresaste, Tessie.
My light went off. I didn't have electricity. It's crazy. I know.
Well, we're happy to see you back again.
Estamos
Sorry.
felices de verte de nuevo.
This has been the strangest interview, no?
Yeah.
My electricity went away. I'm sorry about that. When I'm
That's
most
right.
excited, things happen with the internet. Cuando estoy más emocionada, se me va el internet. I don't know why. So, Bobby, sorry for the inconvenience. Perdón por el inconveniente. So, well, the last question I want to ask you, because we're running out of time, and is, well, lastly, más bien al final le quiero preguntar, ¿cómo le ha ido a ella con la pandemia? ¿Cómo hace para considerar la pandemia como un regalo? ¿Cómo ve la pandemia? ¿Cómo la mira? So the question is, the last question I want to ask you is, how do you see the pandemic? How come you understand it as a gift? Like, can you tell us something that will light us, like give us some light about it?
Well, I mean, certainly in the yoga world, I mean, there's a lot of sad things. People have lost their institutes and their buildings, and it's going to have to be a lot of rebuilding. But the online classes and the whole world of Iyengar yoga online has been amazing. Yeah. I mean, we've got at our fingertips, we have Abby teaching, we have Prashant, we have all the Indian teachers, we have everybody else. It's all, we never would have thought of that. I mean, you had to travel. I was traveling and we would show up, you'd be in that location and maybe a few people would come from the outside, but you'd be very localized everywhere you went. And now, depending on the time difference, you can, it's almost been too much. I started off trying to take everything, listen, and when people are always surprised, yes, I take classes, okay? I get over it. I love being in classes. I love doing, and you should. And don't think you're anyway, never mind. So from that point of view, in a modified form, when teaching comes back and we all can get enough people in a room for it to be worthwhile for the teacher, and then I think online is here to stay. I mean, we'll see what it'll settle. It'll it's a business. Yoga, it goes through many levels, from the profound and the spiritual to the business. It's all important. So from that point of view, it's been great. it's brought our community quite close. Our New York community, you know, we feel we're hanging in there. The teachers are together, and we have meetings, and we realize how valuable we are to each other, and how much our groups, how much yoga, not just our practice, but our community, how important that is, actually. And it's, of course, it's an international thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Alex, ahí andas. Did we lose Alex? Alex, no. Okay,
no, I'll translate.
I'll translate that. Entonces dice Bobby que de hecho la pandemia para ella ha sido un regalo porque ha hecho que la comunidad Iyengar se una más. Nunca habíamos tenido tan a la mano a Villata, a Prashant, clases con los maestros de India. También ha sido un beneficio porque las comunidades se han unido. Por ejemplo, ella cuenta que los maestros de Nueva York se juntan, me imagino que por Zoom, y tienen como esta solidaridad que antes no había. Entonces eso es un gran regalo. Y ella dice que ella toma clases, aunque nadie lo crea, ella le encanta tomar clases y es alumna también. As Prashant said, ¿no, Bobby? Como decía Prashant, we're always students. We will always be students. ¿No? So I'm telling you. ¿Ahí estás, Alex? No, so we lost Alex.
All right.
It's crazy. So yeah, and so that's why you see it as a gift, no? It's been good news also in the pandemic. También ha habido buenas. Yeah. So Bobby, thank you very much. This is
lovely to see you.
I mean, it's lovely. I hope we see each other in Pune next year.
I know. I hope we get to go shopping again.
Right. Nos vamos a ver. Es lo máximo estar con Bobby en India. Ella nos invitaba a comer en su departamento arriba. Y bueno, es lo máximo. I'm telling them about your drawings, the film that your son did, ¿no? Hay una película que se llama Iyengar, The Man, Yoga and the Student's Journey, que también es un documental que hizo su hijo de Bobby, se llama Jake Clennell. Bobby, where can we see that movie? ¿Dónde la podemos ver? I cannot find where to see it.
I know where you can buy it. I don't know. It's being distributed by a distribution company, so we're kind of out of it. We don't have anything to do with that. But you can buy I will email you the link where you can just buy I think you can buy the DVDs.
Oh, great.
And if there's any other links to getting it, I'll email you today.
Yeah. Entonces dice Bobby que ¿Ahí estás, Alex?
Sí, es que hace rato me sacó una disculpa.
No te preocupes, o sea, pero sí. ¿Agarraste todo esto que dijo Bobby? Sí.
Sí. La película la puedes comprar, ya está siendo distribuida por una distribuidora, ya no tenemos nosotros que ver en eso, pero voy a mandarte el link donde puedes comprar directamente el DVD y puedes también, te voy a mandar cualquier link que encuentre al respecto para poder verla.
Entonces lo que estoy pensando es que el link que mande Bobby lo voy a poner en el Facebook de la Asociación Mexicana de Yoga Iyengar, por si alguien quiere comprar la película. Es una película donde explican la vida del señor Iyengar. Hay que verla, yo no la he visto, no he podido. Pero, so we want to see the movie. ¿No?
Good, I want you to as well. Yeah.
Yo también quiero que la vean. Espero que funcione el link.
Sí, muchísimas gracias, Bobby. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience. Gracias por tu paciencia. for Alex's patient, and I mean, everything is crazy nowadays, but we got through this.
We did it.
We did it.
And thank you, Tessie. That was such a good idea. Thanks for doing that. It's been lovely. It's been a good experience.
Oh,
Muchas gracias. Fue muy buena idea. Fue una experiencia muy bonita el hacerlo.
Yeah, maybe we'll do another one, like really.
Sure.
No, and just talk about women's, like the practice for women, etc. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Claro
for
sí,
sure.
Por
I'm doing a woman's workshop for Costa Rica, Colombia, and Panama. They've all got together, 3 countries.
Wow.
Estoy haciendo un taller para mujeres, Costa Rica, Colombia y
Panamá.
Y Panamá.
And it's one workshop, but the 3 countries are hosting it.
Right. Va a haber
Es un
una...
solo taller, pero los 3 países están participando.
There's going to be a translator, right? There's going to be translation.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Va a haber traducción.
So keep an eye on my website. Go to bobby@bobbyclennell.com and move around on it. It's on a couple of different pages, and the dates are there. I haven't put it up yet. I haven't put it on Facebook because it's a bit early, but I think it's March. I might be wrong. It's March. It's the spring, but I've got the dates on my website, and it's the first class. It's 2 classes. Class 1 is the menstrual cycle and how to practice. Class 2 or workshop 2 is menopause.
Great.
Por favor, entren a mi página de internet bobbyclennell.com para que puedan ver las fechas de este taller. Va a ser alrededor de marzo, durante la primavera, y la primera clase vamos a hablar del ciclo menstrual y la segunda clase acerca de la menopausia.
Okay, so yo voy a buscar eso y lo voy a poner en el Facebook de Angie para que la gente lo pueda ver. Okay, Bobby, so thank you so much.
Oh, look, it's May 15 and May 16. My friends just showed me.
Mayo 15 y 16.
I'll send them that. Thank you. Okay, thanks, guys. Thank you. We'll do it again. Bye.
Muchas gracias. Hasta luego.
Gracias. Bye.